Morning everyone. This is to introduce the next series of marvellous meanderings, which this time is in the Americas. Just to kind of show you what we're doing overall. We've shipped, myself and a friend Peter have shipped our bikes, which are a couple of Royal Enfield Himalayans, out from the UK to New Jersey in the States. And from there the idea is to ride down the East Coast to the beginning of a route called the TransAmerica Trail, and go across America to the Pacific Ocean the other side, and then head south. So if I show you a map, just to show you the first section of this journey.
Okay, so here's a map of our first section, which is to go across the US. It's on the TransAmerica Trail, as I say. For those of you that aren't familiar with that, it's basically a mapped linked series of back roads, mountain passes, fire tracks, forest trails, off-road sections, etc., that take you from a place called Nags Head on the Atlantic Ocean in North Carolina, which, if I can show you, is there. Across the states, well, firstly you do, what we're going to do is what's called the Atlantic Ocean Spur, which is this little yellow bit, which goes up, joins the main TransAmerica Trail. We then follow it in a zigzag pattern across the states up to here, where we'll then continue west on what's called the Pacific Ocean Spur, which is the green one, right over to a place called Port Orford in Oregon. So basically you traverse the US really on the back roads and off-road, hopefully to see what they might call the real America.
One thing I did forget to mention is that when we have done the TransAmerica Trail and arrived in Oregon, our intention is then to turn south and go down through the bottom half of the states into Mexico, and then carry on through Central and eventually Southern America. But I thought I'd sort of mention those bits of the journey in a little bit more detail when we get closer. So we've arrived in New York on a Saturday. The bikes have come over to New Jersey docks, which aren't open till Monday, to get the bikes. So before we head off on the trail, on the roads rather, to start the trail in North Carolina at Nags Head, we're going to have a bit of a look around New York. One of the memorial pools, this one on the site of the Memorial Tower at the World Trade Center. And this is St Paul's Chapel, a little chapel literally yards from the World Trade Center, which in the period sort of immediately in the aftermath of 9/11 became a sanctuary for the firefighters. I went in there before, it's now been restored actually, but went in there before, and all the old pews were still there, with all the scuff marks from the firefighters' boots where they used to sleep on the pews between sort of shifts at the World Trade Center site. But after that, in about a year that followed the World Trade Center disaster, the chapel set up cooking facilities outside, was a sanctuary to all the rescue workers and sort of recovery workers over that period. They had cooking facilities, as I say, out at the front, and was basically regarded as a place of sanctuary during that year. And this is the Bell of Hope in the grounds of St Paul's Chapel. It was actually given to New York from London's St Mary Le Bow, which actually is the sister church of St Paul's Chapel, and it's rung every year at a ceremony marking the 9/11 incident. It's also been rung after other major disasters, bombings, for example, in Madrid in 2004, Mumbai, Moscow in 2010, the Boston Marathon, etc. But it stands as a sort of symbol of hope after such incidents. So that's us. Bikes collected from the Port Authority at Newark Port, loaded up and ready to head to Nags Head.
You brought your bikes with you?
Yeah.
How'd y'all get over?
So we shipped the bikes to New York, and then we flew over for work.
Where's your destination? California?
Oregon's the end of the trail. Then it was down through New York and New Jersey states towards the ferry to take us across the Delaware Bay. So, having got off the Delaware ferry and ridden down through the states of Delaware, Maryland and Virginia, and being pretty close to North Carolina on our destination, we saw some pretty dodgy weather up ahead, and it turned out, unbeknown to us, we had a little mini hurricane heading our way. There wasn't a lot of option, but sort of crack on and just stop sort of periodically to let the worst of it past, so we inched our way forward towards Nags Head.